What's going on, guys? Welcome back, and today I would like to recommend a show to you guys that I feel has not been garnering as much attention as it deserves, and that is His Dark Materials. Now, of course, there is a fan base surrounding this show, as there is for everything, but if you compare the amount of views on trailers for this show compared to trailers for something like a Marvel movie, it's kind of sad how little attention this show is getting, and I feel that's very undeserving because this show is actually very high quality. Just to give you guys a little bit of background information, His Dark Materials was a book trilogy written by Philip Pullman in the mid-90s going into the early 2000s, and it follows people in an alternate world with animal companions known as demons, which are essentially the embodiment of their soul. In this alternate world, there is this corrupt governmental system known as the Magisterium, which is opposed to this type of matter known as dust. This leads to their world overlapping with our own, and all sorts of crazy hijinks ensue. Now, I read these books several years ago and really enjoyed them. There was a film adaptation of the first book, The Golden Compass, in 2007, but everyone unanimously agrees that it was a pretty terrible adaptation, which is why I'm surprised that I somehow missed out on this series when it started a few years ago in 2019. The world that Pullman created within the His Dark Materials series is very unique and different from a lot of other fantasy books that were written around the same time and that are written nowadays. You could say the concept of someone's soul being within an animal is somewhat similar to the concept of Horcruxes that J.K. Rowling invented in the Harry Potter series. However, I don't think she had gotten that far into writing the Harry Potter books at that point in time, and the way that Pullman executes that concept is very different. He pulls from a lot of interesting influences, particularly religion. The Magisterium within this alternate world is essentially a corrupt Christian church, and there are a lot of similarities to the Salem witch trials. There are a group of witches in this alternate world, and there is an event that is very similar to the Salem witch trials. There's just a lot of interesting aspects of this series, and Pullman pulled from a lot of interesting different cultures and religions to create this story, which are thankfully all done justice in this excellent adaptation. It felt so good to finally be watching a show that was fun to watch, while also being a good adaptation of the book series. The casting in this show is fantastic. Daphne Keane, who a lot of you may recognize from Logan, plays the protagonist, Lyra, and she's great in this series. She perfectly captures who I imagined Lyra being in the book series, and really everyone is great in here. You have Ruth Wilson, James McAvoy, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who all perfectly capture their characters. And visually, this show was insane. The cinematography is gorgeous, there are a multitude of beautiful locations, and even when there weren't real locations on screen, I couldn't even tell because the quality of the visual effects was amazing. The way they visualized the demons in this series was fantastic. I never once questioned them being real animals. If you look at the behind the scenes, you can see they used these animatronic puppets as a base for the visual effects, and they were very expressive, but never to the extent where it pulled me out of the illusion that they were real, breathing creatures. They were just visualized beautifully in this series, and the score by Lorne Balfe is epic. I mean, just listen to this. And although the series does have a lot of lore and depth to it, I feel like this adaptation is able to give you all the information you need to become invested in the story. It's not something like the Harry Potter film series where they cut out a lot of the necessary context for the story. They give you all the information you need, and it never feels like you're getting exposition dumped on you. They pace the story out very well, and I feel like the medium of television is an excellent format for the story to be told in. For example, at the beginning of the second book, you're introduced to a new character, and I'd say about 25% of that book is dedicated to catching you up on his side of the story. Whereas in this series, they actually overlap his and Lyra's, the main character's, stories in the first season, so once you get to the beginning of the second, there's no catching up that needs to be done. I just feel like it's an excellently executed series, and I recommend you guys check it out because I feel like it's not getting as much attention as it deserves. But with all that said, that's pretty much it for my recommendation to you guys. His Dark Materials, 2 seasons right now on HBO Max or Crave if you live in Canada. Season 3 is coming out later in 2022. I can't wait for it, but you guys please let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, as always, I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.